morning, everyone. This is Be'ilui Nishmat Ishti Alice Bat Yosef Naim Vasalima. It's very interesting because this is a lot connected to yesterday when I spoke, but I want to start from here because it just happens that those questions were asked just at the time of the Parshat HaShavua, which is Masai. Now, what's interesting about it is it's all involved with the 42 names because there are 42 stops. Now, we're not quite the end of the story because this is before the death of Moshe and Aaron, and then we move on. The next Parsha, then there is a recap of everything. But what is very interesting is that this week's Parsha, they camp at Hor HaHar. Now, Hor HaHar has a special meaning, and we'll see why in a minute. But part of it is that's where Aaron HaKohen died. He died. And he was buried, and all the people mourned him, and everything stopped, and the whole camp waited, and for the whole of the Shiva to get over. And what was so significant about that? Well, it was very significant, because if you go right through the beginning, if you're relying on the Torah only, I'm only talking the Torah, Adam and Chava, none of us know the YARTSEIT, the date of his death, their deaths, right? We don't know. We don't know. You move on to Noach. You move on to all of the big people, right? You can't miss out one of them. Abraham and his wife, Yitzchak and his wife, and Yaakov and his wife, Yosef and his wife. None of us know. We weren't given in the Torah a date of YARTSEIT, the death anniversary. And you go right throughout history until, of course, it comes in later years, the Rebbe and Netanya and all the other people. But because why? Because it was slightly different. But then, all the way through, all the great giants, we have no idea. If it wouldn't be for the Talmud and other sources where they go and calculate. So we have to ask ourselves a question. Why is it that the date is not given to us? Why is it, in a way, not important? Now, the Rashi, the Rambam, the Rashbam, they all have long discussions on it, and also the later Gedolim, because it's a big question. Two, one is, why did it happen at Hor HaHar? And then you start to come to an answer slowly. It's because, by the way, everyone was given the days of their life. Everyone says, right, that they died, they gave the number of years, and most of them, it said that they lived a full life on a daily basis, right? So what's the significance? Hor HaHar actually is a two-peak mountain. Now, that two-peak mountain, immediately after that comes the whole story of the battle, and then get into the land. When you're going in the land, you have to make sure that you first of all, get rid of all the idol worshippers, and then you settle in the land because the land is yours and you'll be a holy nation, right? And so all of them had this big question. Rashi, actually, when he gives explanations, you have to say, well, what was his worry? Why is he giving an explanation at all? And his big worry was, what's going on here? Aaron, they made a big fuss of. Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't know from the Torah his death anniversary. And Miriam, we also don't know the date. But we do know, but from the Gemara we do, the Talmud. But why is this? And what's so important about it? What's going to happen here? So Hor HaHar means inheritance. So Aaron left everybody, and Moshe as well, is, first of all, the way they lived, number one. Number two, Hor HaHar, we will always have this conflict between idol worship and, on the other hand, settling in the land. What's more important? Now, we know one of the dinim that Rambam brings, that if a husband wants to go on Aliyah, goes to live in Eretz Yisrael, even if the whole family opposes it, he is allowed to force them to go. Every other thing, he can't force them, but he's allowed to force them. The other thing is, if the wife insists on go, she can force her husband and the family to go as well. And she's entitled to an immediate divorce, almost an annulment, if he doesn't want to go and they don't want to go. So it's Hor HaHar, your decision between the two. So the mitzvah of settling in the land is very important, but the mitzvah of idol worship is also very important. Where's the balance? And of course, that leaves us with a big question. And we're going to continue this discussion because as we have to develop it, because we're not given a lot of time in the morning, it will develop as we continue going through Masai, because it's very, very interesting how it's all interconnected with the same thought and the same theme. But I want to take you to Purim. And this is a good example of Hohaha and gives us all something to think of. Haman Yamach Shemo, name should be completely blotted out. What did Haman do? He says, wait a minute, if Moses died on that day, and he had the date, if he died on that day, it means that everything finished. So it's like a punishment. The Kodesh Baruch Hu took away their leader, and that was it. And therefore, that's a very good date to choose to destroy all of Israel. I'll succeed. What he did not know, the other side of the heart, he did not know that Moshe was also born on the same day. He came into life, and there was his death. So the death, although we have to celebrate somebody's life when they die, but the death date is not as important as the birth date, because the birth date is when we're all reborn in a way, in our souls, in ourselves, and it's the soul, and it's not the body. It's the spiritual and not the material. And here we're given that chance. The soul is to grow again, because the soul now, when it parts, it doesn't grow at all unless it needs to, then it's brought back again to life. So because of the life, he failed completely. Why? Because remember two Mashiachs. This is the first Mashiach, which will change the world. The second Mashiach actually brings Machaya Meitim, the physical Machaya Meitim, the quickening of the dead, bringing them alive. It's very interesting. And this is a thought that I had this week because, everything is confusing. And yet it is not, because there's the truth within it. So what happened is, you find that was the big mistake. And that's the big mistake we're all making. But this is food for thought. All of us must think about it, discuss it. If you have any ideas, like Mother, please talk to me. And we will continue it with the Masa, because it's linked. And also these questions in our life. What is it really all about? All the beautiful stories of the Hasidim and in the Torah and everything else. And then the praying again and again and again and again. It's exactly the same thing, repeated all the time. What is it all about? And these are the big questions of life. So I want to wish you a fantastic day, a wonderful Shabbat, and safe from the hidden enemy. And also within ourselves and outside. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Bye-bye.